Another move in the FBI and the Russia narrative and everything's gone on. So why don't you just give it to us straight?
Well, what we're learning more and more is that the FBI did a lot of nothing for quite a long time, unless that was going after President Trump. That seemed to be their MO for quite a while. But this is now information coming out of documents that was transmitted from Kash Patel to Congress in their oversight role, much like the Adam Schiff documents that we saw yesterday, those 302s. This is where we're now seeing more about this pipeline to the media that James Comey had. We knew that he said he leaked a handwritten memo to his friend, that's Daniel Richman, who's
with the intent to leak it.
Right, to get it out there so that he could get a special counsel. That was actually his final salvo when it came to leaking. What we're finding out now is that the FBI was conducting investigations into leaked classified material to various outlets, the Washington Post, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, etc., and that they even interviewed this individual, the law professor, Daniel Richman, and it turns out that he was, according to the reports and to the FBI's documents, Richman told the FBI his goal was to correct stories critical of Comey, the FBI, and to shape future press coverage. He was interviewed as a part of a classified document leak investigation, and he was asked by the FBI in this investigation called Arctic Haze whether or not he leaked classified information or even confirmed classified information to reporters. And he said he didn't think so, but with a discount. Effectively saying I'm not going to lie to the FBI because that's a federal crime, but I can't say with certainty. I'm going to make you think it's certain, but don't hold me to it. Effectively, what we know is that Comey had a pipeline. We'll get into more details of how he structured this by even making Daniel Richman a special government employee so he could have access and be talked to about SCI, special compartmentalized information, top secret information with this individual, and knowing all along that this was the pipeline to the media. What all this leads to, though, is that this is where Daniel Richman was talking with the FBI, and they asked him, did you confirm or leak classified information to the New York Times, specifically Michael Schmidt, who is the reporter that was on many of these stories, who Daniel Richman had about a decade-long relationship with as being a source. He said, I don't think I did, but with a discount. Effectively meaning I can't tell you for certain if the things I confirmed or didn't confirm were, in fact, classified. He wasn't denying that he had this source relationship with Michael Schmidt. In fact, he even said that the whole goal of him being brought in by Comey as a special government employee, so he was getting paid by the FBI for this role where he could have SCI clearance, top secret clearance, be able to have these conversations with Comey. And many of the article timelines, it would be he went to a meeting with James Comey to discuss things that were classified. And then he had a meeting with Michael Schmidt, and a few days later, these stories came out. And yet he's saying, I can't be certain if I'm the one who gave the classified. All that to say that his whole purpose of this role with his friend James Comey was to, quote, correct stories critical of Comey. So defending his friend, the FBI, defending the Bureau, and to shape future press coverage. This is all outside of the actual press arm of the FBI.
Yeah, this is internal.
They have that.
Right, exactly. They have a PR firm that's around our PR department,
exactly, the press office.
But that's not what they're using here. They're utilizing their own. It's really chaotic when you look at it. You look at what they've tried to do, and again, all it really is confirmation of what we kind of knew. But when you see it kind of in black and white, it changes the way you feel about it because there's an assumption, and then there's fact.
What it tells you is that. At taxpayer expense, James Comey brought a friend onto the payroll to be a special PR consultant and to go around the official press office of the FBI, which is also on our tax dollars dime, and trained in how to properly provide information to the news media so that laws aren't broken. And he's having discussions with reporters about classified information. And when he's asked, did you confirm or provide that information? He gives, I think, one of the great non-denial answers in American history. It's probably going to be up there with Bill Clinton's, depending what the meaning of the word is when he was trying to parse words about whether he had an interview or had an affair or sexual relationship with his intern, Monica Lewinsky. That was probably the most famous one in the last 30 years. He says, well, I'm pretty sure I didn't confirm the intelligence, and I'm sure, comma, with a discount, comma, I didn't give him the classified documents. If you need a discount on your truthfulness to make that claim, it's a red flag to the FBI that maybe you haven't told them the whole story. And I think what you get to see now is that James Comey wasn't just trying to do good in the country. He wasn't trying to stand up to a president, all the narratives he's given us on his high and mighty media tours. He was worried about how he was being viewed, his reputation. And he brings a guy in, and that guy is having conversations with reporters about classified information. He doesn't dispute that. The question is, did he leak it? And the FBI ultimately couldn't tell from his answer whether he did or didn't. And the Justice Department ultimately, like almost all the leak cases of the last decade, we looked at 6 of them yesterday, no one actually gets punished. They always come to the same conclusion, which is, it looks like this happened, but we can't prove it.
What is so shocking about things in your reporting, both with the Adam Schiff story as well as this James Comey story, is that these two both had what seemed to be like an established way for them to get this information out. Instead of this was a one-off, or they decided to get one thing out to an individual, but whether it be the House Intelligence Committee having staff do that for you, or with James Comey bringing on an individual as a special government employee so you could have these conversations with him to almost legally protect him, but then allow that individual to be your pipeline to the media. It's just shocking that that's what was going on.
I think the next thing I'm going to be focusing on are some documents that show that Hillary Clinton did not only face jeopardy on her email case, there was several foundation corruption cases, looking at her foundation as a possible pay to play. We're going to be able to tell people for the first time soon who was shutting that down, who was blocking it. And I think that's going to be an important part of that cycle of protecting Democrats, Hunter, Hillary, whoever it's going to be, Joe Biden, and then demonizing Republicans using the intelligence and law enforcement system. I think those new revelations will move the needle quite a bit.
This is not just fighting a grudge. It's the bigger picture of a government that works for the people, regardless of your political views, that is going to treat everyone the same. If it's illegal for one person, it's illegal for the other person. And we're not going to raid some people's houses, but not other people's houses, because we feel like, you know what, there shouldn't have been any of raids of President Trump and those associates. But some of these guys on the other side, when you look at the information, you wonder why there wasn't action taken quicker. Instead, they were getting little slaps on the wrist. You need to be more careful with your documents. We're finding spies in your office from other countries. But just be a little more careful with how you share this information. You're telling your staff to leak classified information, as one whistleblower reported to the FBI, and no actions taken on that by the FBI. But they put warning outs about Catholic churches. I mean, just remember, that's all going on simultaneously. It's why we have to fight back. You know, when you have a bureaucracy this size, you have to keep them accountable, you have to keep them honest, and you have to be willing to fight. And that's what we want you to do by joining with us so that we can fight those fights for you and on behalf of you at the American Center for Law and Justice. Go to aclj.org right now. Donate, and your gift is doubled. We will get that donation matched. So it is a critical time for you to support the work of the ACLJ. Donate today at aclj.org.